just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you. That's who I think I am. Would it have been better if I had a song that said, I am a nigga? Or if I had a song that said, I'm a gangster? Or if I had a song that said, I am a pimp? All those colors and patinas fit better on a person like me, right? But to say you are a god, especially when you got shipped over to the country that you're in and your last name is a slave owner's. How could you say that? How could you have that mentality?
I mean, I know in the past you've talked about, like, you know, building hotels, doing things that are beyond people's normal frame of reference.
Yeah.
They know you as Kanye West, an artist. They know that that you're moving into fashion. But these things, I guess, in a way, are hard for people to comprehend because they don't have that level of drive. Do you know what I mean? Has it always been like this for you? Have you always felt like you can set your mind to anything and you will achieve it ultimately?
I always felt like I could do anything. That's the main thing people are controlled by. Thoughts, their perception of themselves. They're slowed down by their perception of themselves. If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything. And I'm Kanye West at age 36. So just watch the next 10 years.
Yeah.
One thing I want to express to people also, people think a lot of my motivation is very like megalomaniac and self-oriented. To the contrary, completely. I just want to help. From day one, I just wanted to help. Like my father was a Black Panther. My father was a journalist, a paparazzi, a photojournalist. He was a paparazzi. We had a dark room in our house. Like 7 years ago, he lived at a homeless shelter. Not because he was homeless, because he wanted to help the ex-drug addicts. He wanted to get that close. He started a foundation called Good Water and moved to the Dominican Republic to help right there, to help with the prostitution, to help with the extortion, to help right there. He stays in the Dominican Republic right now. My mom was the first Black female chair of the English department. There is no award show. There's no amount of billboards. There's nothing that can define me or make me pass what my parents made me. And that's exactly who I am. And I put on that pink polo and said, broke, and broke through that TV, and now you got an interview with me. Because their presidents was coming out the gate, and they was like, oh, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. But me, I'm here. You know what I mean by I'm here? Like, meaning like, I got no play on Yeezus on the radio, right? No.
Not entirely true, by the way.
A little bit, but no #1 records, no Kanye West, blah, 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 right? So then I was going back and forth with the company I'm in touring with right now. And I said I wanted to perform in the round, and then creatively we just couldn't find it. So I said, put me up against the corner like how we did on Watch the Throne, we'll just do that instead. They said, well, you know, we just can't technically do it. Because technically, why? Why can't you do it? They said, look, if you do that, you're going to be in breach of contract, right? So basically meaning like, if I didn't sell the tickets, I would go into debt.
Right.
So they pushed me my back against the ropes, right? And I said, I'll take that chance. I'll take that chance, right? So pre-order, 9,000 the first day in Chicago, doubling Watch the Throne, full pre-orders in one day. That meant the people stood up and said, we like what Kanye is saying.
But
we like new slaves.
But we do that all the time.
Yeah, but not through radio.
Well, yeah, but I'm a radio broadcaster and I love your records. I mean, you know, for me...
No, I'm not pinpointing just you. I'm talking about the overall radio. There is no Get Lucky on the album. And perhaps, you know, it's just because that just wasn't the song. But and maybe it could be that. But it sounds like there's hits on the album to me. But it sounds like there's hits that's distracted by the statements, fuck you and your corporation, y'all niggas can't control me on the first single.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this to me sounds like a radio hit where I'm coming from. But you said yourself at the start, you made a record that was built out of frustration and that you were trying to create cracks in the pavement. I like that description more than you made an album full of radio hits. As a Kanye West fan, I don't, you know, turn to your album.
I never described it as an album full of radio hits.
No. But I'm saying, like, you know, I'd prefer than you to describe it as cracks in the pavement than to have made a record just full of radio hits. You know what I mean? I want to hear where you're at.
Pause it. That song is a hit song minus the line "Fuck you and your corporation, y'all niggas can't control me" on your first single.
I think it's a great record.
But you ain't hear what I'm saying.
Go on.
That song's a hit record minus "Fuck you and your corporation, y'all niggas can't control me" said on your first single. Because if you can't control me, then you can't control him. Then you can't control him. Then you can't control him. And then the information age starts. What Kurzweil is talking about starts. What Steve Jobs has left us starts. Steve Jobs made the internet usable. This is the information age. We barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's things that are moving. The entire music industry was hit by a fucking glacier by the internet. And Sean Parker just like that great shit up in there. And Steve was like, no, wait a second. Come on.
Yeah.
Give him a little time. There won't be any music. You just give it away like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But shit is changing.
Yeah.
People are going to look at this interview and say, hey, I understand what he's talking about. People are going to look at this interview and say, I don't like Kanye. Look, he looks mad. I don't like his teeth. They're going to say, why doesn't he just focus on music? I liked him as music. They're going to say, hey, I want the old Kanye, blah, blah, blah. But one thing they will do, they will play this interview in 5 years. They will play this interview in 10 years and say, he called that, he called that, he called that. He said that was going to happen. That was going to change.
You're a futurist.
Yeah. I'm a postmodernist at best as a career. I'm a futurist mentally.
Talking about the internet and where you feature into that, obviously it's just a small part of the future, and being a futurist, it's only just an aspect of it. It's changed the way everything moves, but it certainly with regards
It's
to
the
music.
biggest part. It's our Earth.
Well-
like you remember, like you see future movies and everything was in the sky, like it moved to the sky.
That's where it is.
That's the internet.
Right,
That's
right.
what it is. That's our sky.
Yeah.
That's our future sky. We kind of thought we knew what it was, and it's flying cars. We didn't get flying cars, but we can send movies like in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. So you talk about it being in its early stages and it being really not even yet at a point where it's developed its true potential. I mean, what are the key things that you've learned in your journey? Because I'm fascinated to go down this road for a minute if you want. We could talk about this record. I'd love to. But while we're here...
This record is just the codes of that. Go listen to all my music. It's the codes of self-esteem. It's the codes of who you are. If you're a Kanye West fan, you're not a fan of me, you're a fan of yourself. You will believe in yourself. I'm just the espresso. I'm just a shot in the morning to get you going, to make you believe that you can overcome that situation that you're dealing with all the time.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about that aspect of your personality, because you said that you're not here to, be, it's all about you. You're here to help. And I believe you when you say that, man. I think, you've given us great records. You like to think about the way things are going to appear in the future. You keep your eye on things. You want to make, like you said, you want to make basketball tops for your old high school. You want to do things right. Yeah. Do you allow yourself the time to be good to yourself? Do you allow yourself any time for yourself at all? Do you know what I mean? I know you've got a good self-esteem in who you are, but you seem to be doing a lot for the bigger picture, for everything that's moving around you.
Yeah.
Do you give yourself time?
Yeah, it's like family time.
Yeah.
It's what Kim gave me.
Yeah.
She gave me everything. She gave me a family. She gave me a support system. She was in a powerful enough situation where she could love me without asking me for money. Which is really hard for me to find.
Yeah. What are some of the other things, that you've learned about yourself since you became a family man?
I can't pinpoint that. I don't have the answer right on me. I got to think about it a little bit and give you a really good answer.
Okay, cool.
I've got like a lock and loaded amount of information that I'd like to express on a very wide scale that I'll give you. But if you ask me a question like that, I'll go back and think of it, and maybe I'll have the answer for you in a couple of days.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. When you get other outlets, you can relax and give other outlets more breathing room. Meaning like, okay, when I did the Coachella performance, I had 30 dancers on stage, modern performance artists. And I had this lift, and I had the Roman wall, and I had like the Celine shirt and blah, blah, all this type of stuff. So when Jay told me he did Watch the Throne, he said, I don't want to use dancers, of course. And I said, that's fine, because I was doing a fashion show in Paris. So I still had 30 girls on the stage, so I still had these elements of the emotion. You must
recognize that wasn't the throne thing either. I mean, that wasn't necessarily what throne was about, that type of performance necessarily.
What I'm saying is, it's about whatever I want to make it about. This is my world.
But you're with Jay on this, though. It is a collaborative project. It's not just your vision on Throne.
Yeah. So then I would have to separate my world, but still get some of my world out through the fact that I had a fashion show. You see what I'm saying? So it's like right now, people could say, oh, he's frustrated. He's that. No. All I need is the breakthrough, the joint venture for my clothing. Same as Stella McCartney has. Same as I can name so many people that have joint ventures, a backing to be able to express themselves that way. Okay, bam. I need that outlet. And then you'll get things closer to Watch the Throne. You'll get things closer to Bound. Because obviously more people are apt to like Blood on the Leaves and Bound and Watch the Throne. It's just more of an overall like happier vibe, right? But Jay is more realized than me, meaning more of his dreams and hopes and aspirations, blah, 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 has come true. And hopefully, God willing, by the time I'm his age, that thing will happen for me also. And I'll be in that place of a more zenned out place. Even it's like I couldn't have done this album without Rick Rubin. I had to have a Zen master come in and say, okay, this is just what we're going to do. You don't realize I am so frustrated. Like, I am so frustrated. Like, I've got so much I want to give. I've got ideas on color palettes. I've got ideas on silhouettes. And I've got a million people telling me why I can't do it. You know, that I'm not a real designer. I'm not this. I'm not a real rapper either. I'm not a real musician either. Like, I don't know how to play the piano. Like, I'm an artist. I went to art college. And was looked at like I'm soft because I like wore like Italian clothes. You know what I'm saying? When I'm rapping in front of camera and my pants is tight. Trying to spit a verse for Cam. You know, so that's the same when I'm sitting there, you know, like sitting there at a fashion show. Like, I'm there because I appreciate Phoebe Philo. I appreciate Raph Simmons. I appreciate Ricardo Tisci. And I look at them as my peers, as creative people who dedicate their entire life to making something better for the world. Let me explain what anybody that knows an artist, and you know someone that's giving that, if you know an artist, there's only one thing you can say, give, or ask them when you see them. There are two words. Thank you. There's no, why didn't you do this? Yo, I want that. What's up? No, we dedicate our entire life to making our current time and civilization better, to adding something to the culture. And there is only two words that you can say. Thank you.
Give us an insight into the fashion world, though, and what you've been going through there with that whole experience. The biggest challenge you've ever had, clearly, to get your vision across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be helping me.
Is that partly, and please don't, take this the wrong way, I just mean this in the art, for the process of conversation, is that partly, do you think, because some of the people who are making fashion look at you and they go, well, you said it yourself, they dedicate their whole lives to one thing. You are exceptionally successful and gifted in this area. To move into their area, it's understandable. There's a human aspect of suspicion involved there because they're like, well, hang on a minute, this is our life. So what is it you're trying to achieve here? Do you think there's a part of that that's going on, do you think?
I've dedicated the past 10 years of my life to this. I've spent 80% of my time working on this and 20% of my time working on music. Why do you think the song Niggas in Paris is called Niggas in Paris? Because niggas was in Paris. Because I had an office in a small courtyard across the street from Colette where I couldn't even find a good pattern cutter. That's why we were in Paris. I put in the 10,000 hours. I've got a very particular, specific take on men's footwear. No one can say I cannot design or understand how to design a guy's sneaker. When I was in 4th grade, I was drawing Jordans. When my mama couldn't afford them, I was drawing those Jordans. Getting kicked out of class for drawing them. And when I got that opportunity to work with Nike, I went into that emotional space and place of my life and said, what was it about that? What were the cues that I can add when I make the Yeezys? You know, I don't ever do interviews. And I wasn't the one rapper that had the opportunity to do a shoe with Nike for no reason. It means it has to be another step. It means it has to keep going. People didn't love the Yeezys the way they did for no reason. Picture this. For me to do the Yeezys and not have a joint venture backing deal with Nike the next day would have been like if I made Jesus Walks and was never allowed to make an album. If Drake made his first mixtape and was never allowed to be signed. If 2 Chainz only had 116. And then people say, why are you mad? Do you know how many 16s 2 Chainz had in him? He did 100 features in 1 year. 100.
Yeah.
100
Okay, so
features.
Let's get to the solution then, Kanye. Let's work out how are you going to kick that door in as well? How are you going to get into that world your way, on your terms?
I'm not trying to get into that world. I'm trying to make a higher level of product for the real world. Because people say life isn't fair. And unless you Kanye West or you this pretty girl that dates this soccer player or your parents had money, you don't get to wear Versace all the time. And you hear it. We love Versace. Versace, 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 Versace. We love Versace. Versace is the greatest designer of all time. We love Versace. But unless you was to the point where you rap so good and knock down so many doors and produce so much shit that you was able to actually get Dame Dash to give you a record deal because you was a producer. Not because he liked your raps, but because you was a producer. Just because Dame knew what was up and he was downtown with the models and the artists and all that shit. Yo, look at this kid got some talent. You not affording Versace. The creators, they want to connect with people. These artists, the clothing designers, they want to connect with people the same way that music gets to connect with people. But the cost of silk is too expensive and they won't lower their quality level. So I can spend $2 million on a record and give it out in a democratic way. They could spend all their time making the greatest dress in the world and it's just impossible to hand make that many. Let me explain to you what a fashion office is like, right? Sometimes if you're working on an album, once it gets down to the last moments, there's 2 or 3 people in the studio, an engineer, a manager, the artist, a label guy, saying the masters are due tomorrow. Okay, they're due a day after tomorrow, but let's get them in. It narrows down to that. At a fashion office, you've had people who have dedicated their entire life to this, that are working, 12 people, 15, 20 people, interns coming in, working to 4 a.m. that night, slaving to be able to put that thing on the runway, pinning things right before they go out. All 20 collections every day for Fashion Month. That is the level of dedication, heart, and soul that goes into that. But what happens is for real people, the democratic public, the people who have a normal amount of money that work every day, that like nice things, we'll just make these same cuts, blah, 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 and provide this at a democratic cost. The only thing about it that's different than Nike and Apple is there's never a time when someone can walk in with some non-Nikes and you feel less in yourself.
Right.
You still feel like the greatest version of you when you have those Nikes on, right? But you can have on a Zara pant, right? And a girl walks in with the Celine version and you feel like shit.
Right.
That is the problem. That is the problem.
I mean, obviously not my problem because I look like I dress the same way I did when I was like 12.
But I'm talking about us, the new slaves, the people who love fashion. I'm talking about us, because I'm a slave to it. I love it.
Dude, I can tell.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it since age 5. My mama brought me to a discount first spot, and when she asked me what I like, everything I like was too expensive for us. That's 5 years old. I went to my grandfather's funeral like 3 weeks back, and my cousin that works for me stood up and he told this story about, how his mother was a tailor. So he won best dress. I won best dress in high school too. A bunch of people in the lineage of my family won best dress. But his mother was a tailor, right? His mother was a tailor, an African-American tailor. My grandfather was a hustler. he used to take old vintage furniture and reupholster it. Then he had a store. And he sold all of these different items that he thought would be good for people. Do you know how many times I sat with people and said, hey, I want to make a store? And they said, how could you make a store? Blah, blah, blah. It's in my code. It's in my code. Have y'all ever seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
You remember how that girl in there, the people that was racing, she was the glitch.
Yeah.
You telling me they don't look at me like the motherfucking glitch? You telling me people don't look at Kanye West like the glitch right now? And she was on the side of the video game the whole time. It's in my code. It's in my code.
I mean, I watch what happens when you get on the mic or you get on stage and you say what you want to say. And I want to refer this back to your comment about the glitch, right? And I watch people, you know, I see what some people say in comments and whatever after these things get posted. And I go, all right, yeah, I mean, those are the people that think you're the glitch.
Yeah, they broke Penelope's car. Penelope, Von Sweets, they broke her car.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of people in the audience that love what you have to say, love hearing what you have to say, you know?
Yeah.
Appreciate what you have to say.
Yeah.
Do you focus on them as well?
Yeah, 100%. But I'm doing it for everyone. I'm doing it for the people who don't appreciate it, because they'll appreciate it later. And of course, I'm doing it for the people who appreciate it. If no one appreciate it, I know it's a couple people up there that appreciate it.
For sure. I appreciate it.
And thank you very much. And then people will say, your voice is so strong. Why are you so focused on just clothing? Or why were you focused on just that award show? Or why were you focused on that? The same reason why I sat there and focused on that Otis beat. When people didn't like Ham. And Miami Heat was losing. And I'm in the Mercer. And they literally write on the screen, who's watching the Throne, and show a picture of LeBron and stuff. And I said, I gotta watch out the Throne like it made Otis, right? And say, this I know. Niggas in Paris doesn't work without Otis. You have to bring the flowers to the door first. And we delivered Otis. And then we did this. So wait a second. That's just a step towards this. Because people could say, what do you mean you want to help the world and you're so concerned about fashion? It's illegal to be naked. It's not illegal to not listen to music. That is a very high opinion to have. That is something that is extremely important. Shoes. You put on shoes every day. You walking down the street with no shoes, somebody might think it's something wrong with you.
Sure.
If you walking down the street without a headphone, it's like, oh, what's up? How you doing today? No headphones today? Cool. No music today. But if no shoes? Look, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
You having problems with the family?
Is he okay?
Why are you? Socks at least?
Yeah.
Sandals?
Something?
Yeah.
Flip-flops only very rarely.
Flip-flops?
Very rarely.
Sandals with socks?
I mean,
keep it gangster?
I'm from New Zealand. Flip-flops are far more standard.
Yeah, exactly. But not for black dudes, though. No flip-flops for black dudes. I don't care where you at. No flip-flops for black dudes. Wear some hot-ass Jordans on the beach.
Holy... Dude, we've covered some stuff. Now, can you do me a favor? Like, my brain is just like, I walked in here today, I was going to turn around to the guys I said to them, man, I hope I learned some stuff today. My God, I had no idea. But would you